Hey, salute, bro. Another day. How you doing, man?
Salute, fam. I'm good. How you?
All right, all right. Um, I was just thinking, people are, a lot of conversation is going around in particular about the political season and which way people should go. And I had thoughts to myself that people should be politically agnostic. They shouldn't really give any sort of loyalty to one particular party or another, that they should vote their interests. And when they're actually, going to cast their ballot, they should think to themselves, what's in it for me, at the bottom line. I was just kind of wondering whether or not you echo those sentiments, or what were your thoughts about those just in general.
No, definitely. I'm all about what's going to work in my favor. If you have one particular party that doesn't want to give me anything and another one that does, then of course I'm going to vote for them. I'm going to vote my interest. That will be the responsible thing to do, especially as a melanated man here in America and a business owner. If one side is willing to invest into me and the other is willing to take from me, I'm going to the side that's going to invest. It just makes sense to me. But yeah.
Well, on one side, people, like to point to identity politics as, one particular animus for whether or not, black men should vote in regards to the Republican Party, or, should they remain, in the sort of traditional aspect of voting for the Democratic Party. And, I was going to, see what your thoughts were, and more or less share mine. If that's okay.
Oh, definitely, bro. Definitely. Um, Yet again, vote your interest. Because at the end of the day, that's what I truly believe that we need to start doing as a group of people, collective, not just holding on to one particular party in this dogmatic way where nothing changes and they can be free to do whatever they want or take whatever they want without giving anything. Nah, man. Who has something that I want and they offer it up and I can grab onto it and it's going to benefit me and it's going to benefit my people, then yeah, of course, I'm going to lean more toward that side. It's just human nature. I'm going to do what benefits me.
Yeah, self-preservation is most definitely the rule of nature or whatnot. So here's the claim that people often present on the Republican side. People often say, there's these quote unquote racist white men, and that's the old guard, and it represents things that we don't stand for as a black people. On the other side, Democrats have been presented as more or less the good guys, less brash, honorable, and this, that, and the other. But the thing about the Democratic Party is that, there's a serving of multiple masters with the plurality, right? Black people have dealt with benign neglect. There's more or less the presumption of, oh, well, we have to help everybody out. Meanwhile, people who are immigrants, people who are part of the Ghibli community, women, and everybody else, have their specific needs addressed, even Asian Americans or whatnot. On the other side, obviously, there's obviously the great white boogeyman on the other side. And I just think to myself, okay, as it is, and as it stands. Okay, so let's just get this out right here. There's going to be racist people everywhere. That's a foregone conclusion. Okay. As far as the Ghibli community, as far as the immigrant community, as part of, women or whatnot, there's going to be something there, right? On the other side, obviously, you're just dealing with, people who may very well have their own prejudices or whatnot, are racist. Let's just call it what it is. But I'm thinking to myself, would I rather catch it from three different ways? Somebody who looks at me, a certain way because I'm a man. Somebody who looks at me a certain way because I'm black. Somebody looks at me a certain way because, I'm heterosexual or traditional, versus somebody who just simply don't like me because of my race. I'm sorry. I think that I'd rather deal with less bullshit than not. For one, okay. And to be honest with you, um, it is what it is. Republican Party isn't perfect, but let's give some historical context, okay? We can't sit up here and pretend that Black people have not been party agnostic before, right? Wasn't there a switch of some sort we were talking about earlier, Contra?
Yeah. They actually the Democratic Party and the Republican Party switched some time ago, and you'd be surprised. They don't really talk about that too much. They the people on the left went to the right, the people on the right went to the left.
Yeah, 100%. So, more or less, historically, the radical Republicans were abolitionists, right? And really promoted civil rights issues well into about the 1960s, right? From the 1860s to the 1960s, just about until there was really, really a mass change. I want to say FDR helped with that, and the nail was in the coffin, particularly with Kennedy. But before that, we can't admit that all those people like Huey Long and everybody else, those Southern quote unquote Dixiecrats, were people who were actually the ones who were causing a lot of the problems. From the 1960s on up until the 1800s. Calhoun, he was a Democrat. South Carolina senator. A lot of the white voting councils and white women citizens councils and things like that were all staunch Democrats. Even the racist white folks in the North, in places like Chicago and Detroit and stuff like that, having political machines and preaching systems were part of the Democratic Party, and I think that, we have amnesia because we're so afraid to more or less vote in our interests and say, you know what, I'm not loyal to anybody, but what's in it for me? But we treat, these parties in a sort of dogmatic fashion and a blind loyalty where there's no incentive for competition to happen and for anybody to do anything any better. All these other groups make these parties fight for them, and I'm just wondering, what were your thoughts?
Well, you're right. All these other people, ethnicities, they do make them fight for them. And how long has it been? Has it been like what? Let's just go from like the 70s on up. There's the one side. Well, I'm not gonna say the name, but the side that we traditionally vote for hasn't offered us anything. I think we covered that on the last two broadcasts. That what they did offer you was chicken and watermelon, being the last one, and then bussy and old broad box. You dig what I'm saying? That's what they think of you. It's terrible. I don't I'm how to put it. I have a very mercenary mindset where I'm going to go where it benefits me. My loyalty goes to the bidder that is willing to compensate me. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, if you're not looking out for me, then why should I look out for you? I owe you no loyalty, man.
And that's the way they're behaving.
Yeah. It's not a brotherhood or a sisterhood right now with the people. They don't like you. Real shit, bro. I did a job I told you about with a guy, and he was a firm believer in what he believed. You know what I mean? Like I said, his last name was his last name began with Mick. And
Irish.
Yep. Long story short, me and him had more in common as far as our opinions as the way that this vote should go for the presidency than me and Keisha ever would. Because they're whether he likes me or not as a person doesn't matter. We both recognize that we're both trapped on this sinking ship, and we both trying to get off, or we both need to get off. So the party that is bringing in all these people from across the border in other countries and giving them stipends and so on and so forth, while you still have whole tent cities in Washington D.C. full of people that look like me, I can't rock with them, man. I can't rock with them. I can't. But I'll leave it there though.
You're on to something. And it boils down to this, like we keep saying and we keep emphasizing to people, what's in it for me, right? Obviously we've already had this sort of experience with the sort of blow up of the giblet community and how there's no interest whatsoever for the black man. It's obviously antithetical to family, obviously antithetical to any sort of male leadership or tradition or anything like that. If you're about that, for the straight black man, obviously when it comes to jobs and the union and things like that, you have immigration kind of undermining any of the benefits that a lot of black men have fought for, so that those wages are a certain amount. You have people who obviously want to be boss chicks and things like that without any accountability. So it is what it is. Hey, Fatty, salute, big salute, brother. Hey, tell them come on through, man. And as you already know, with Machismo TV and its network and affiliates, you have our full support, man. You do good content over there. All right. But getting back to the topic of discussion, okay, but I'd rather, these towns, go to shit, and these schools go to shit where these different teachers, basically using ideology to kind of, turn your kids against you. Or would I rather, somebody was like, you know what, I don't like you. Yeah, well, I don't like you either. Well, I don't want you dating my daughter. Well, I don't want to date your daughter. Well, I don't like them giblets. Well, you know what? My tradition is incongruent with that. So I get you too. Well, you know what? Good neighbors make good fences. Well, you goddamn right. Good neighbors make good damn fences. You stay over there and you mind your business. I mind my business, right? So I don't know why people are having a sort of unwavering loyalty, almost like an abusive relationship, or some sort of Stockholm syndrome when it comes to this party. We didn't have a problem jumping seats then, right? Anytime any inkling of any black people when it comes to the Democratic Party, you might even see, a couple people just withering away. It might be like 5-10%, right? And it's news about it. Never any news about anybody else. You want to know why, black man? It's because they believe they own you too, right? Anytime you do anything different or unpredictable, that shakes up shit. This is our opportunity to do that, right?
Is it fair to say that they still believe that you belong to them on Candyland? You know what I mean? On the plantation?
I'm just saying. Just as much as your name is Jethro, there is. You feel me? Banjo and everything playing. They want your ass back, And here's my thing, or whatever the case may be. Be there as it may. Vote your interest. I'm not saying give an undying, unwavering loyalty to the Republican Party too. What I'm basically saying is vote your interest. What's more in congruence with you, right? You see the witchcraft, you see the schools, right? You see the numerous abortions, you see the sort of moral decay from top to bottom, right? You can't even distinguish a Keisha from so-called twerking senator to a so-called DA or a mayor of city. Why even bother, right? We can go on ahead and get our passports and stuff like that. But I would say this, man. There are some brothers or whatnot who are here, at least make it for them better on the way out. Maybe it'll give them an opportunity to wake up. at least vote your interests and, you know, do it on behalf of the boys, you know, who can't read, who's actually being victimized and stuff like that in these schools. I'm not talking about not getting education with neglect and stuff like that. I'm talking about active targeting with suspensions, onto being arrested, onto active abuse that nobody likes to talk about. You know,
But in my personal belief, this is the third part of this power.
You're bored a little bit. You said what?
And I said my current belief is the party that's in power currently has done everything they could to keep all those practices going, man. They really have, in my opinion. Like, it's crazy. But as long as all of us been marching and supporting them, they've just neglected us and left us to suffer some really, really horrible things over the years. And I don't believe I should show any allegiance to the person that helped abuse me, bro. I don't. I really don't. Maybe that's a new school way of thinking, but I'm not going to tell Master thank you for whipping me. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, grab yourself by the bootstraps, right? Okay. King Randall, what'd he do? Right? He didn't have to go after no foundations or anything like that, right? He got in the mud and he's helping those boys out, right? You know, imagine how much control they could have exerted over this man in this school if he did, right? You know, just like what you said, you know? So, I mean, we got to think about these things. You know what I mean? What are we incongruent with? I mean, there were times and things like that in which, you know, we didn't have any sort of support and we just did what we needed to do. You know, so we just can't, you know, sit here and vote this sort of quote unquote socialism for everybody else, where everybody else is getting handouts. They're having some sort of would you say velvet gloves, you know, a social safety net, but very much the sort of expectation of black men is still get yourself out of bootstraps, right? So, I mean, that's a foregone conclusion there. All right. That's what republicanism. Check. All right. Families. A lot of you brothers out there who are obviously pro-family, right? You know, obviously there needs to be some sort of child support reform. There needs to be some no-fault divorce reform or whatnot. Who's more likely to do it? I think we already know the answer there. Check. Another one in that column with the Republicans, right? Okay, now you have all this stuff in the workplace where, you know, people are just arbitrarily lying on you and blaming you for a whole bunch of crap or whatever the case may be. They're not even focused on work. They're trying to get a bag, and guess what? They will step on your neck to get it. Check. Right? Affirmative action. Was we getting it any damn way? Somehow or another, it was, obviously, Democratic Party spearheaded affirmative action, and somehow or another, it was just kind of manipulated to where, you know, Becky, she obviously benefited the most. You see, he's pretty quiet about that. You don't ever say anything about that. But nevertheless, you know, it's not like we benefit from that either. So unless we think to ourselves, like, hey, you know, something needs to change. There needs to be some sort of adjustments to shake up things or whatnot. It will be business as usual. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go on ahead and drop the link for brothers that want to come in. Yo to the noobs. I see you there, Chris. Yo. Good for stopping through. Let me go on ahead and rinse you up in the spirit of 1911. Let me go on ahead. All right. What's happening, brother?
Real quick. The whole philosophy of pull yourself up by your bootstraps, right? I got a question for you. Now, I'm not saying that He's like, none of us know everything, but I would love it if you could help me answer this question. How are you supposed to pull yourself up by the bootstraps when you have a system that's made to chop your legs from under you before you were born? You dig what I'm saying? They didn't took the whole thing from the knee on down, but some of us still find a way to do just that, pull ourselves up by the bootstraps through all the suffering, through all the pain. We still find a way to do it.
But see, that's the thing. I would say, and that's a great question that you asked. There's something called labeling theory, okay, and it could work anyway. If your aunt or your mom tell you you're not shit, over some time, you start believing you ain't shit. You start behaving like you ain't shit. Would you agree or disagree? Supposedly, right? That's generally what has happened. But obviously, there's some of us who's resisted that. Okay, I mean, one can argue that, but on the other side, how did it happen that these towns where there were churches, there were insurance companies, there were mutual aid societies? I mean, the truth is, and this is history, the first black, the first woman billionaire and the first black woman millionaire was Madam C.J. Walker, right? So you got to think under those conditions, right? Somehow or another, we were still able to do what we need to do, and they were closer in proximity to slavery, racism, and violence being a clear and present danger. You know what I mean? So as long as we have the mind that we can't do, we're going to behave like that. You know what I mean? There were a lot of people who were free blacks. You know what I mean? I mean, figuratively and literally, freedom of mind. And I think with the sort of belief or the ownership to that trauma will continue to allow people not to tap out their full potential. 100%. Frederick Douglass. Obviously, all kinds of, brothers that were inventors and things of the sort. Yes, we are in this system. We've already been dealt a bad hand. But, there's no excuse not to do what you can do. I mean, Jack Johnson, goddamn. You know what I mean? There's plenty of folks. But, labeling theory is a thing. I will say that much. Okay. I will say that. But, here you are, contractor, right? Somehow or another, you've, been defiant in the face of those odds and said, fuck that. I believe in the sort of self-determination of my life. People used to tell me that, I'm like, you teach me all this stuff about God, and God is the supreme authority in this universe, and you sit up here telling me who I am and what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to be shit. And I've always had it in my mind, like, how dare you? You know what I'm saying? How dare you? I will do this to fight you. You know what I'm saying? So having that sort of audacity to say, fuck you in the face of it all, and doing what you want to do, man. Having that sort of attitude. But with all being said, let me go on ahead and drop this link here for those who actually want to speak of a little more about this, navigating these identity politics in the political realm. Let me lay out the premise once again. Okay. The premise is, navigating these sort of identity politics where on one side is a plurality in which one party has to meet the needs of everybody else, and somehow or another, we always end up on the back end versus, potential opportunity, right? And very much some unrealized alliances. All right. We're going ahead and drop the link. We're going to do a rotation style. Try to keep it to 3 minutes just to give everybody more or less the opportunity to speak. All right. We're going to be on here for like just about a quick, would you say, hour or so. I want to say that we've been broadcasting more or less 24 minutes. So we still have a little bit of room. All right. Let me drop the link for those who want to come up. All right. All right. Let's see who we got here. Let's see if any of the brothers want to come up. to tackle some of this. Okay. Well, meanwhile, I will say this much, um, it's a big negotiation game. Who gets what, when, where, or how? And as with politics, you have to vote your interest, right? There's no reason why anybody would do any changes if you're not giving any incentive to do so, right? And to take it away from politics, you're seeing that on a massive scale when it comes to quote unquote the breach of the social contract these B-dubs have had with us. So many brothers are opting out and considering other options, right? So just as we're considering other options, people are really apologizing. They're actually thinking about, how they factored into violating that sort of social contract, which it doesn't exist anymore. Now there's some apologies and all these other things in which people want to be introspective about the fuckery that they brought about, right? So if you can see that on that scale, you got to take it at a bird's eye view in the political realm, where black men are essentially saying, I'm checking out. There's no incentive to vote for any damn party who, obviously, telling me no vote, no fucking. Like, what's the point here? What am I gaining, right? Why cast my ballot, right? So hopefully, there's something on the other end. It seems like, maybe just from a lifestyle or a mission-oriented aspect, there's more incongruence over there. But people will scream racism, racism, racism. But I'd rather deal with racism on one end, like I said before, than somebody who is racist, misandrous, and obviously, can't stand me because I'm native born African American or straight.
On top of that, they're heterophobic. If that's
exactly. All those things. I mean, look at the choices. Look at the choices. All right. Let's go on ahead and see if it's anybody else who's willing to come on in the back. Come on up. Well, man, y'all chilling today, huh? Oh, here we go. What's happening, Glow? What's happening, youngin, man? You, man. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. Glow looking like he wants to, you know what I'm saying? He wants that smoke, man, that verbal smoke. Come on up, brother. What's happening?
What's up, man?
What's up? All right. What do you think of the premise I laid out?
Yeah, man. The way when you're talking about plurality and serving both sides, I definitely we're essentially talking about cognitive dissonance, because we want to work in our best interest, but we also want to make sure that we're useful to the collective. So recognizing that there are underlying similarities between things that may seem starkly different would be helpful towards attaining a better goal for the nation as a whole, not just black people, white people, Asians, just everybody, any ally that's an ally of the United States. That's what I think about it.
Well, that's the thing, allies is basically at this point is, bulldogs and enforcers and things like that, eunuchs and weirdos and white knights and stuff like that,
Yeah.
I might hear that word, ally. That's what it is, even, us on our side, we got to be wary of our so-called allies because it's always some sort of secondary interest, right?
Of course.
So one has to really think about, us ourselves, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's quite, natural, just as, the contractor opened this up, with, self-preservation is the first law of nature. And so us as black men, we're so used to being community-oriented that we don't think about our self-interest. We think about somebody who guilts you into voting something about some abortions or something like that. Guess what? They ain't got nothing to do with me, right? Okay, somebody, votes something about, women in the workplace and DEI and all this other stuff. Guess what? It ain't like we've been benefiting any damn way. So ain't got nothing to do with me once again. You know what I mean? So if somebody's over here on this other hot side is saying, hey, you know what? We're going to talk about maybe doing things to stimulate small businesses. Maybe we'll do something as far as, the family court system, right? Maybe we'll do something about false accusations and things of the sort, right? I mean, one has to more or less think about these things, vote your interest, be a part of your interest or whatnot, I'm just saying, just something to think about. Yeah, 100% embrace being the bad guy. If we're the so-called white men of Black America, why not embrace that? If that's the case, you know what I mean? We already get the negative.
The white men of Black America is crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy. Who said that, bro? Who said that? Who made that up, bro?
Keisha, bro. See, because they believe they own you, they expect you to down this. They expect you to down your sword when they tell you. They always want you to sacrifice everything but give to you nothing. That's why I love this era that we're living in, because that shit is changing. That's no longer the mindset. That was our grandfathers and fathers and so on and so forth. Brother, nah, we're free men. Like Uncle D always say all the time, bro, we free men.
My homeboy, let me tell you about this this conversation I had with my homeboy. So when we were in the military and stuff like that, they display your last name as your last name is the frontward representation of America in general, right? So when he searched up all of our names and stuff like that, apparently, like, because it was three homeboys in the group. Apparently we all had like some type of slight relation to each other. I mean relation in the sense that we came from the same plantations, right? And it was hilarious. He said he said that I was the nigga that ran. If you don't mind me using, do you all mind me using being completely candid, because it's like it is heavy. Can you all hear me?
Oh, my bad. I was muted. I said, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So look. He say, we all been around the same like general plantation area, but we were a part of different plantations, right, by our last name when we were searching up our last name and stuff like that, right? So he says, I'm the nigga that ran off the plantation and found a way to get off the plantation and stay off the plantation. And I tried to come back, and when I told him about it, he was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. It might not be that time to come off the plantation. I'm like, bruh, like it was a crazy analogy. When I first heard it, I was in tears, bruh. But it really did put in perspective how some of our brothers are thinking at this moment in time. And I get it. Like, I'm not saying that he views himself as like a victim or anything, but he kind of did put it in context for me. It's like the dude, it's the you have the dude that's telling on the slaves that's running away, and it's just like, then you're the guy hearing that your homeboy got away successfully. He came back and he trying to get you off the plantation, and he don't know which way to go. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a pretty good that's a pretty good analogy.
That is, I mean, that's a wonder that, that has come up. That is most definitely a wonder that's come up. Hey, sidebar question. I'm gonna switch gears, and I think it's a great opportunity to kind of ask you this, Lil Hardy. You from the Chi, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, for those in the chat, I just want you all to know, okay, that Chicago is the most political city outside of DC. Okay, I just want y'all to know that. Okay, What is it like being on the ground there with all that is going on with, quote unquote, the newly arrived, if I should say that?
It feels like a silent war.
Really?
Yes. When you realize that Chicago was a trading post, and that a lot of commerce happens because of the Great Lakes that we have, one of them being Lake Michigan, you start to understand that there's like a very large importation market. So it makes sense that it would be one of the biggest, because like I said, Chicago, or a part of what I'm saying is that Chicago is also like the third largest city in the US. And we also deal with a lot of trading and stuff because of the Great Lakes. So it makes sense that we would pretty much have a lot of political say, in reference to your question. But I know that you were also asking about the migrants. When you're talking about it's all relative. When you're talking about market share, because market share isn't just something that you could. Market share is a larger concept than a lot of people give credit for. Market share is pretty much anything that gives into the GDP and gives the United States buying power or financial power. So when you have a lot of these migrants and stuff like that coming into our cities, and we start to give these people rights to certain things that were meant for Chicagoans, and we're giving the funding straight over until the migrants. Yeah, you see, there's like a lot of discourse and stuff being had now, in these courts and stuff like that. There's a lot of conversation about Chicago and its politics. It's been like that for a long time, but I really think it's now hitting the big screen because, really hitting the big screen, the national big screen, because of how much there's going on at one time in Chicago. So all this to say is that even though that you see on the TV screens and stuff that we're arguing against migrants and stuff like that, the reason it feels as though that it's a silent war is because we're kind of in a what are you gonna do about it type situation, I think, because the migrants can pretty much the whole point of me explaining the migrants being able to take up the resources of the people that it's meant for is that we get replaced as a voting class. So like when there were plenty of people talking about like migrants being the new voting class over Black people, or like any native of Chicago. Like I think Hispanics in general can be a part of that because there's like a lot of Hispanic immigration. So I think that the natives of Chicago that are Hispanic benefit from that, but it kind of it does get, the whole thing is that it gets muddy. You're not really sure how you're going to get the resources that for a tax system that you pay into when you've been a native Chicagoan, but they're bringing all these people in here, which could replace the labor force if we start letting them work on the police department, which is like a thing. It's just so it's a lot.
So okay, excellent. Okay, and let me go ahead and provide some context to you all. In Chicago, city council is generally called alderman, for you all who don't know. Okay, all right. Now, I don't want to start no fight up here on this panel with Blow Hardy. I'm team Uncle Remus, by the way. When it comes to the chicken there, you know what I mean? I'm messing with you. I
need to try some Uncle Remus, but Harold stay hidden. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so this tells me that you're a Southside. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's these, aldermen have had these schools closed on the south side of Chicago in particular, Woodlawn, and I want to say South Shore for the longest times. And you've had community groups, you've had other people asking to use these schools along with other resources and things like that. Now, I would truly say, in my experience with Chicagoans, Black Chicagoans in particular, okay, extremely traditional. You can walk down the street on a Sunday and you can hear one gospel hymn to the next block, another gospel hymn, and it'll all flow together like one harmony. Okay, these folks, come election year, these folks be out. All right, and they treat the sort of Democratic Party. I want to say the headquarters over there off of 35th somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Correct? Like religion, and so to have people where a big part of their identity is interwoven in them from the machine of Chicago, right? When we're talking about the political machine and patronage, onto the unions, onto, like you said, the gateway of transportation, meat, and railroad, and all these other things. You know what I mean? It's a microcosm of American cities. Truly.
Yes, it is. Yes, because it's one of the third largest cities, and because I think that we still have like one of the most largest importation markets because of the Great Lakes. When you consider all of this, yes, it makes everything that you said so far true.
Okay, so this sets the ground. Stage, right? Okay. Now, I'm gonna tell you this. Okay, right? Chicago's feeling it, I guess, with an uptick in violence due to newly arrived. New York is feeling it, right? And so, all I'm saying for you Black men out there, we've already seen what's happening. We've already seen what's happening for years and years, right? And so, if we're going to continue with reckless abandonment to vote for a party who does not have our interests at stake, it's kind of like we have all the game. We have all the cards in our hands to negotiate because people aren't banking on our votes or whatnot, right? Make people earn it. You know what I mean? Make people work for it. It's not an obligation to stand hours and hours in a line to vote for somebody who just ain't got nothing but fried chicken and hot sauce and things like that for you. You know
Hold on,
I mean?
check this out. I'm listening to what you said, and I don't mean to abruptly interrupt. I just had a what do you call it? An epiphany. When you were explaining them standing in long lines just because of an obligation, some people are so invested into the other side that they find it it'll almost affect their whole health system to abandon it, because we're talking about social conditioning, and because of like how much politics are woven into like the fabric of people's being here. When you think about, when you mention even going to the other side, no matter how bad it is, like it really affects people. It affects people very deeply. Like people freak out. They even freak out when you have a legitimate standpoint, as long as it's not what was originally proposed and what they've lived by for years. They're going to feel threatened, even if that other side seems very sensible, or that middle ground or the other side seems very sensible. So it's hard to deal with, because there's a lot of complex things that go on in Chicago that get woven into the fabric of politics and stuff like that, since Chicago's like on a world stage. Even though we get highlighted for a lot of violence when you see the news and stuff like that, and you see like all the different events that are hosted here, you see it as like a city that you want to live in, because it is very thriving and lively. And if it could be more peaceful, it'd be even more of a tourist attraction because we can't forget that we do have tourism here. You know, tourism is pretty good here. People still feel good enough to come down here and see what the big city's about. You know, but yeah, that obligation really affects people to their core, and that feeling of obligation affects people to their core. So it's not like I don't excuse bad voting for bad policies just because of that, but I do understand, you know.
Exactly. Let me go on ahead and do some quick acknowledgements. I'm gonna go on ahead and gracefully pass the mic to my channel brethren. Y'all be sure to go on ahead and subscribe to Contractor Mods. Drop the link, and for all the content creators who came through, y'all make sure y'all drop y'all link, and Mods drop their link as well. Okay, I got to give a special shout out to Team Fatty. I really do, for coming through, man. For y'all going ahead and drop a purple dot and some spades in the chat for me, man. Y'all know how y'all do, man. Y'all going ahead and show out in here, man. You know, Team Fatty gang. Y'all in here deep, man. Thank you for the support, man. Thank you for the support. Machismo TV network, we stand with Team Fatty, man. Great content over there. All right. Yeah, y'all going ahead, drop, purple gang, right? Purple gang. All right. And a special shout out to, I want to say, was it JT Coin Rings for the Cash App? All right. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. Thank you for supporting Black Male Media. All right. Machismo TV, we have a very, very specialized mission. Okay. Collaboration, empiricism, and actionable steps. A lot of the collaboration has been, you know, some of y'all's favorite YouTube content creators. We do that because we want to especially promote Black male media and create our own economy, right? And so for all the stuff that, you know, people are talking, that leads to our next bullet point, actionable steps, right? We can talk about it, but we actually got to be about it. So when we have people come through, we don't have no problems with people dropping a link, whatever the case may be, because we want our voices and, of course, loud and clear. Okay. Empiricism, right? Whenever you expand all of the pool of human knowledge, in particular, Black male, okay, you're going to have some people with, you know, special talents, skills, and, you know, unique aspects or whatever that's going to rise. Okay. That's part of competition, in particular, empiricism, right? We're going to see who's the best of the best of the best, which is cool, right? And so y'all going ahead, y'all drop y'all links or whatever the case may be. Ain't no problem with that. We ain't over here peacocking and, you know, showing off. Ain't no egotism, ain't no, you know, personality or anything like that. We're about creating our own lanes, okay? And under that same wavelength, let me go on ahead and pass the mic on over to my channel brother, the Contractor. You had a point, brother?
Yeah, no. I wanted to let Glow know. Yo, I agree with you. I've seen in my own life one of my childhood friends, his father. It affected his health, and literally the thought of Trump coming back in office, like, sent him over the edge, man. But I got a theory, and I don't want to. I'm not trying to offend anybody on purpose. I'm really not. But he was one of those older men in our generation that he never got white acceptance. Now he can get some white box back in his day, but he never got true white acceptance. And it fucked with him so bad that the thought of this man coming back in office, this racist man. Well, from what I can tell, he ain't that goddamn racist.
He not racist, bro. He ain't no more racist than the average citizen, in my opinion. I'm gonna be. He ain't no more racist than the average U.S. citizen. That's what you know what I'm saying. Like that's what I think. But please continue your point.
Well, like I mean, you're right. He's not. Either you with it or you ain't. Either you getting it or you ain't. He's a businessman. Then on top of that, you got individuals like Hillary Clinton and Biden over there with the crime bill. They actively fried niggas.
Yeah, bro. Exactly. Like this man got a clean slate. Matter of fact, he released one of our icons, bro, Kodak Black, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He's an angel.
He increased unemployment by in the black community by 3.5% within 4 years, and hasn't had any type of political history ever. Like, come on now. Like, if we talking, like, I can talk about the general effects that Trump has had on America. I can talk about those general effects, but when you're talking, but I can even more so speak to the points that he actually does a lot for like Black Americans. People, you know, and I'm not speaking ill of your father, but I think that if people, they have such an aversion towards like not only him as a person, but the opposite party, that, you know, even if you present them with these very factual things like Trump funded HBCUs $954 billion over the course of 10 years, and you say, like, if you had that in a piece of paper and you showed it to them, like the exact fact that it was that happened, they're gonna be like, this is no way, this is yellow. They're not gonna think of it in this way, but they're gonna cast it aside as like trash journalism. Like, where did you just pulled this out of your, you know what I'm saying?
They're gonna be like, you pulled this out your ass when
yes,
you look at the track record.
You're actively, they got you too. Yep. You're actively lying to me. You're actively lying to me and try to even further the lie with the document. Yes,
you can.
That's how deep it goes.
You can literally look at the track record of the other side that he's not affiliated with, and see how they literally made money off imprisoning and capturing Negroes. You dig what I'm saying? It's amazing. This man was sitting back taking pictures with Tupac. You dig? It's a whole and then he can't be border controlled, so now you have to sell him as being something other than what he really is. I think the biggest part of that a lot of the older generation has to wrestle with is the fact that they never got white acceptance. And whatever little crumbs that they offer them on this particular side, they sop that shit up like a biscuit with gravy, because it's the best thing ever. Versus being out here working, free thinking, and about your business, making things happen for yourself. But I may be wrong, man. I may be wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, and that's what I gotta say. It's like we can concede to a better point always. Like that, I'm always the better idea over being right. You know what I'm saying? I would prefer to have the better.
I don't know what happened there, and I'm guessing he's going to come back, but I got to go ahead and address something in the chat real quick. So, Chicago Rilla, you basically saying that Obsidian, rest in peace. Obsidian, last I know, is alive and well. And in fact, going ahead and drop that link for Obsidian's Rumble link in the chat, mods. Chicago Rilla, I want to go ahead and come on up if you had any questions or actually want to have a discussion about that. I could drop the link once again. And in fact, I want y'all to keep Obsidian's link in rotation for the rest of this broadcast. Come on, Chicago Rilla. Come on up, man.
What are you talking about? Because I ain't in the chat, so I ain't seeing nothing.
Yeah, in the chat, there was an RIP Mumia there, and I just wanted him to have the opportunity to clarify what he meant by that. Oh, okay. Here you go. All right. So go on ahead. You can mute yourself and actually state your case and how you feel, or what's your intentions as far as stating what you said.
No, I think there was some confusion. I didn't say rest in peace to Obsidian. When the young blood was just saying that Trump freed one of our greatest black heroes or something to that effect, and he mentioned Kodak, I said free Mumia, and
Mumia
somebody
Jamal. You
right.
talking about Abu Jamal, the
Yeah,
actor?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was saying. So no, it was just some confusion, but I just wanted to come up here and salute you anyway, brother. I seen you terrorizing the space, so I didn't know you had your own thing popping over here, man. So I just wanted to pull up and salute you, man.
Oh nah, man. I mean, the whole purpose here is to actually, I'm just somebody who, would you say, is opposed to the space. You know what I mean, and actually want to see the change, and instead of just sitting back, and not necessarily seeing money distributed to black male content creators as it should. You know what I mean? That's one of the business biggest aspects of the Machismo TV network. Supporting black men and their voices. You know what I mean?
Indeed,
So
indeed.
that's what that is. You know what I mean? And we're pretty.
So
Go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
I was gonna ask because there's a lot of brothers creating content in the space, and then for me, I try and put my money where my mouth is and support when I can. But what would you say would be like the top five, and not necessarily that's an endorsement from you, but what would you say would be the top five media sources that we should be supporting?
Are you talking about in general or the spaces?
No. I'm talking about black male media in particular.
Black male media in particular, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Books. Books. You know what I mean? It's a lot of hidden gems in books. I mean, you get people on these microphones and things of the sort, and they say a whole bunch of different things. I mean, I think that a lot of people are uninformed about reading, Souls of Black Folk, the Philadelphia Negro, on to E. Franklin Frazier, and things of the sort. I mean, if there's a medium, bar none, it is books, straight like that, right? Because then you have something that's sealed in the history, and it's something that's not changing, and you have theories and frameworks that are right there, and people who've actually done the research, and it actually helps people critically think, consume research, because that's the genesis to where a lot of these policies and different things affect black men. So I would say not just those books, but also I would say research and literature, and look at what the opposition is saying too.
Yeah, I think one thing that you just hit on is that aspect of critical thinking is sorely needed and grossly underdeveloped in our community. Right? I think the brother, I don't want to say young brother, but you sound younger than me, but he was talking about how people vote blindly for Democrat, and especially in a lot of the major cities, and black people in general, right? And that's due to lack of critical thinking skills. If you can't objectively sit and look at the policies of the candidates that you put in the office and contrast them, or juxtapose them against another candidate or another person's policies, and then have an informed discussion, you're doing yourself and your people a disservice, man. Like, for real. And the fact that people don't take the information, and regardless of who or where it came from, just scrutinize the information. And that's what critical thinking helps you do. It helps you remove the emotion and think about what's being presented in front of you. So anybody that would genuinely not take a look at Donald Trump and his policies, and it's not like an endorsement, I just understand what it is. You look at Trump and then you look at Biden, you have to scrutinize that. You can't demonize, you have to scrutinize. So now I appreciate, I'm paying attention. I'm gonna go back in the class and pay attention to what you're doing, brother. But I appreciate the cook up.
Okay, cool. Thanks for more or less coming up. You know what? There's a couple points I'm going to get on, and if you could just stay 1 or 2 more minutes, and maybe I can pick your brain about what your thoughts about this, right? Okay. On this channel, I've given information about logical fallacies. Okay. There's also fallacies from a moralistic standpoint, and there's also fallacies from an emotional standpoint. Ethos, pathos, logos. These are the hallmarks of rhetoric. Okay. And so these are the things in which by which you're protected from people telling you what to think instead of you learning how to think. Okay. And so my question is to you, okay, what sort of sources you believe that would empower these men beyond what, I've talked about here and there, these sorts of skill sets that you think would help with that critical thinking?
Yeah, I think the number, in this, it bears repeating in this instance. I think the number one source is reading books, but I also find having conversations with a couple different kinds of people, right? People that are smarter than you, and also people that are opposed to you. Like if you're in a conversation with somebody and you all don't agree, but it's a rational conversation or a sensible conversation. I'll give an example. When I lived in Atlanta, the one thing I loved about being there is the people who you would say are bigoted or racist. There was no mistake in their position. You know what I'm saying? You knew exactly what they thought of you, how they felt. You just sat around at the bar and got a drink or two with them. You could learn a lot. I also think going off the beaten path to get your news source. So if you're not looking at mainstream media or going on YouTube with some of these clickbait titles, this person destroys that person. If you go into neutral news sources, that will help a lot too. But I think you have to consume the information and disseminate objectively that information.
Okay. Thank you. Chicago Rilla. Hey, you don't have to answer this, man. But I'm gonna go on ahead and put you in a hot seat. All right, man. All right. You ready for it? Ready for it?
Dog. Go ahead, big dog.
All right. Uncle Remus are
man, stop. You already know I'm Southside Wild, man. Don't be talking about no Uncle Remus, man. Ain't no hot seat. Shoot. Hey, it's Harold's and Italian Fiesta all day, man.
Oh, okay. The checker cut. Okay. I know a little something about that. I'm gonna say that much. All right. Chicago's second home for me, man.
Man, all day long, man. Hey, I appreciate you, Fandom, but I'm gonna jump back in the clouds and pay attention, man. It say you just taught me a new word today, man, and I was like, man, I gotta tap in for real. I love that type of stuff, man. Empiricist. Yeah, that's what's up.
Most definitely. All right, Chicago Rilla. Thanks for coming on up.
Good peace, family. Holla at y'all, man.
All right. Y'all representing today, man. It's a lot of Chicago folks up in here, man. Y'all going ahead and throw that 312 in the chat, man, if you Chicago representing. All right. So, nevertheless, for y'all to look at policies instead of politics. Politics is based on ideologies and all this old vague stuff. Think of politics like when you ask a girl, what does she bring to the table, when she gives you all this sort of vague stuff, right? The sort of I'm here for you and I'm here to support you and I'm here to motivate you and all this other stuff, versus policies, which is, hey, I actually will do this, that, and the third, or this is the particular value I bring. I have a business that is successful, and through this business, like say notary or whatnot, I can actually help you with your documents as you're, a realtor, right? So these are things that are specific to specific actionable steps, which would be more along the lines of policy. So don't let these politicians treat you on some fugazi stuff where like they're giving you just vague sweet nothings and you actually not listening and looking for actionable steps. Okay.
Yo, big bro, you mind if can I double down real quick?
Go ahead.
So, in a nutshell, you dealing with Hood Keisha and Dr. Karen. Hood Keisha gonna tell you everything that you want to hear, but she ain't bringing nothing to the table. Stop being so emotionally invested into all the fluff and flower. It's all bullshit. So, Dr. Karen, she gonna give you what you need and what you want. It's completely different. If you look at policy, it clearly lays out what they said they're gonna do and what they ain't gonna do for you, specifically your melanated black ass, flat out. So you holding an allegiance or holding the line for the people that's trying to turn your sons into daughters and your daughters into sons, you got a problem, fam. If you can't see it by now, it ain't us, it's you. Ain't it there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. You know what I mean? I mean, you see my boy, just socked him in the mouth like Raekwon would. Yeah, that's exactly it. All right, so I'm gonna go on ahead and wrap this up, and I want to more or less, get some closing statements. And Glow, man, you always welcome here, man. I love you on the panels, man. You most definitely contribute a lot. You do sound younger than me. I don't want to, insult you by your age or whatever the case may be. But I will say that you're very, very much not only knowledgeable, but you're wise. You know what I mean? The difference between knowledge and wisdom is that there's a lot of people who know a lot, but applying the concepts to real life is wisdom. A computer is knowledgeable about a lot of things like databases and things like that. But, the wherewithal to social context and stuff like that is wisdom. And you're a wise brother. Go on ahead, Glow.
I appreciate that.
Okay. Did you have anything else to add as far as this conversation goes, as far as navigating identity politics and the context of the political realm?
Yes, I think that we should keep in mind that we both have the right to vote and not vote. It's more so about the choice than you choosing a political party. And I think that when you're talking about voting in your best interest, you should look at the policies before hardly aligning yourself with a side. I've always described myself as a moderate with conservative values. So that's one. Two, I think that the history is important because the fact that Republicans put us in the highest form of government when we were at the height of slavery should say something about the value of our opinion as Black voters, specifically Black men voters. We should also keep in mind the things that could cause us to lose our focus in that before the time of a decision. I think that pretty much sums up my conclusion.
Okay. By the way, you a veteran, aren't you?
Yes.
Soldier, sailor, airman, marine, coastie?
Soldier, and I'd like to say something publicly.
Okay.
The Republic comes first, and if we vote out the Republic, they'll there can be a possibility that we completely could lose the republic if we don't vote strongly in our best interest. They could, so the republic can't vote out a democracy, but a democracy can vote out a republic. And I want us to keep that in mind.
Mm.
Hey, yo, the story I told earlier, literally, me and that older gentleman of European descent, of Irish European descent, he didn't like me, brother. He had no love for me at all. But when he found out and realized that no, I agree with the way you're possibly voting, everything was cool because he realized whether you, I'm not. It's gonna sound. I'm not.
We have misconceptions. We have misconceptions when we view each other.
Well, at this juncture, it doesn't matter if you are a white rat, a brown rat, a tan rat, or a black rat. The ship is fucking sinking. So you need me like I need you. So at the end of the day, they see what's going on and they understand. They understand. They're under fire from Karen too. You feel me? The same way Keisha on your ass, my G, or was Karen on his ass. So they recognize what's going on. I'd rather you not like me because of my color than not like me because I'm a goddamn man, Slim. And I choose to be a heterosexual one at that. How dare you? In their fucking eyes. So at the end of the day, like you just said, a democracy can vote out a republic. Yes, that's possible. Everyone, despite their ethnicity, we need to lock arms and go and, do what's in our best what's in our best interest. Because if this shit continues, bro, it ain't gonna look good real soon. Real damn soon. But I'm not gonna monopolize your time and the show. I ended there.
Can I add something further?
Go on ahead and add an addendum. It's cool.
America's doing well despite our large debt. The fact that we can leverage our debt to put ourselves in proper position is important. And because we're going to be able to leverage debt and also have capital influence, I think that I like to just say that we're doing better than we give ourselves credit for, and so we're kind of short selling ourselves when we say that America isn't doing well because we're still a superpower. The fact that we're able to provide support globally is important, But I mean, when you're talking about politics and you start making analogies like chess and backgammon and stuff like that, you kind of see how things fall. And America's doing well, but we shouldn't forget that America can make some mistakes, And I think that if everybody's well intentioned, I heard earlier from this show that they all party together on each side, so at some point it just becomes a conversation about ideas than it does about how much money can be spent, when we're talking about the highest realms of government and politics.
You know what? You're absolutely right that it does. Seem to be two different sides of the same coin. But just as one person could play the chessboard, we could play the chessboard too. It doesn't abstain us from doing so as far as our best interest. And you're absolutely right. Are we, in the sort of shadows of the crumbled columns of the Roman Empire, you know, um, Great Britain, and obviously, this sort of Pax Americana. I mean, is it ending? And very well could be, but isn't stop us from doing what we need to do in our best interest, one way or the other, whether it's here or elsewhere, and this is why, people should go on ahead and consider being worldly, cosmopolitan, and, getting their passports or whatnot. Let me go on ahead and, wind this down. I do appreciate you gentlemen coming up. Lo, you're always welcome here. Maybe you have a future in this. You do have a lot to offer. You're very, very, very intelligent, bright young man. And as you can see, I mean, you probably don't see it. I mean, because you just being your natural self, a lot of people respond to you well. So maybe it's something you should consider one way or the other. All right. Contractor, you already know on the back end, we're going to be talking shit as usual, man. Thanks for coming up, channel brother. I figured to fire it up. Why the hell not, right?
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. And Glow, you remind me of my younger brother, but I wish he was as knowledgeable as you are. But back when he was your age, Slim, it impresses me every time you come up because you hang, and then not only do you hang, you bang too, cuz.
Yeah,
you do.
Bang too, cuz.
I appreciate you.
We'll be in contact because I'm doing interviews with the different brothers. So everybody from Passport OG down to D, I'm gonna be reaching out. I'll be in the chat harassing you like when we gonna talk. It's coming. Trust. But Glow,
Right,
definitely you want to list too, bro.
I appreciate it.
And shouts out to all of the people that came through from Team Fatty. I mean, y'all came over there and crashed the channel. You know what I mean? I appreciate y'all for coming through. Nevertheless, you know what I mean? Salute to all the content creators that came through. Our new star, Chicago Rilla, on to my channel brethren, the contractor, Machismo TV's in the building, right? Okay. Broken Blade, Passport OG, all right? And anybody else I haven't mentioned, it's not because I don't love you. I'm still learning how to manage this thing, you know what I mean? But once I get my wits, I'll be straight. JT Coin Rings and Mike Reed. Obviously, the Nomad Professional Podcast. Can't forget about those guys over there. Wrench Turner. Man, just a lot of support, man. Y'all make sure y'all going ahead and y'all subscribe over to those channels. And once again, Team Fatty, man, thanks for the support and all y'all coming in there. I will do my pop-ups regularly, and y'all have a nice one until then. All right.